Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to make really nice, sharp, flat, square corners. This is a technique I learned. It's a tailor's technique for making patch pockets. So you could use this for making pockets for garments or pockets for bags, but you can also use it for sleeves, like for a pillowcase. Basically anywhere where you want to sew two pieces of fabric right sides together, seam them, and then turn them right side out, and you want a nice crisp corner. So I'll show you how people usually learn to sew like a pillowcase, for example, is you learn to sew, leave an opening in the middle, sew from the middle, backstitch, sew to one corner and pivot, down to the other corner and pivot, and so on to each corner, and then backstitch here at the end. And then you use this opening to turn it right side out. And you usually get something, like this, where you use a blunt tool, such as this chopstick, to poke the corners out. You poke it in there, and that's fine. But what you usually end up with is some kind of bulky, bumpy, rounded corners that that don't really sit very flat. Like you wouldn't want this sewn onto the outside of a bag like that, or even a pillow. It's kind of clunky around the edges there. So one way to compensate for that is that you can clip a corner on here. But what that does, like for example, if I wanted to turn this right side out and poke it out, poke that corner, it's kind of weak and a little bit vulnerable, especially if I put it in the wash a couple times, and this edge here started to fray. Then that is a weak point on that pillowcase or pocket, whatever it may be. So this technique I'm going to show you kind of compensates for that, as well as the crisp corners. So what you do is, just like this one, you start in the middle and stitch along there, back stitch there, stitch along, but sew all the way to the end this time. So go all the way to the end and back stitch, and then take it off your machine. And once you've taken it off your machine, you take it and fold that seam allowance over right along that stitching line, and just finger press it. You don't need to put it under an iron or anything yet. Just finger press it, and then put it back in your sewing machine and stitch along this line. So you back stitch up here all the way down, but this time all the way to the very edge, and then back stitch there, and then you take it off again and you finger press it, and so on. So you end up with, it's going to look like this as you take it off your machine. This is the first one, and then you put it under there and back stitch, and sew all the way to the end and back stitch. And eventually it will look like this, and you just press all those seams down to the same side. This is before you turn it out. Make sure everything's pressed really nice and flat, and you can even see, like when I turn this over, these corners are really crisp, sharp, straight. So then I would turn this right side out through the opening, and then once I get it right side out, then I just kind of use a tool again to make sure these seams are laying flat inside. So sometimes they can get kind of twisted up a little bit as you turn it right side out, but then you just use a tool and you can get them nice and flat again. So that's it. That's the technique for your crisp flat corners.